Welcome to the fucking lecture, fuck. I'm not looking to get monetized on YouTube, so I can say swear words immediately. Alright. Fucking Unreal, huh? Fucking what a thing. I'm pissed today, by the way, so be careful. No, I'm not pissed. I'm sorry. I'll be nice. Yeah, so this is what I had yesterday. Just a bunch of ass, engine. Why am I fucking Ruda has made me cynical.
Why me?
Because you're cynical.
I'm not.
Yeah, well, that's the biggest lie I ever heard in my life.
You say that.
Okay, so yeah, I was thinking. So today I want to switch over to C++ today, so we can start get going with that. I was thinking maybe we'll just finish up the player real quick, because there's not really that much left we need to do to make this complete third-person character that we made from scratch, right? As much of a scratch you can go with the Unreal default character. So, we have a few bugs. Let's finish one first, and that is we're currently strafing in, or we're moving in world space. Can I get rid of this guy? Whoops. Can I get rid of this guy? You were fun yesterday. Here, you just there you go. You stay there. So we're moving in world space, right? Which, it's kind of weird, because we put the actor forward vector and actor right vector here. Right? So it seems like we should be moving like kind of where the actor is looking, right? So the problem is, of course, is that we have kind of two different transforms we're working with right now. We have the control rotation, which is a bit of a confusing concept, what control rotation is. But essentially that's our camera. You can think about it like that. That's probably the easiest way to think about it. Control rotation is going to be our camera rotation. And we're having the boom arm. What is it called? Spring arm? Yeah. We're having our spring arm, instead of being attached to the player directly, the rotation of the spring arm is going to be dictated by the control rotation. So now the spring arm component that's attached to the player will rotate wherever the control rotation is pointing. And control rotation is kind of like a pawn player controller kind of thing. I don't fully understand it. I mean, I don't know, guys. I don't know. It's somewhere. It has something to do with Unreal's basic shit. So that's doing its own thing right now. But of course, the actor doesn't follow that at all. The actor is just doing its actor thing. So it's never gonna rotate. It's just kind of like, I have this rotation, I'm looking this way. And that's just the way it's gonna look. So that's why we have to be a little bit more smart in our event graph here, where we want to actually apply these movement inputs. So instead of using actor forward and actor right vector, which could point anywhere, like depending on whatever the actor feels like doing right now, what I'm gonna do is that instead, I'm gonna call get control rotation. So this is a pawn thing, yeah, okay. Can we take the forward and right vector from the camera? Yes. That is essentially what we were doing. Very nice. Gold star, Emilia. Oh my god, you got so happy. Didn't expect that. That was funny. Alright. So from this rotation, this control rotation, we can drag out here. So this is a rotator. The rotator. We can drag out from here and we can type forward vector. Whoops. So this will give us the forward vector of whatever this rotation is. So I'm just gonna plop that in here. So we're gonna move in the control rotations forward vector. And this will be based on, you know, pitch, roll, and yaw, and stuff like that. So whatever the pitch and yaw and whatever is, it will just take the forward vector of that. And we're gonna plop that into our add movement input for move forward input. And then we're gonna get right vector for our other movement. Like that. For our other movement input with the move right. So now we're gonna be moving not based on where the actor is facing, because fuck the actor, we don't care. We're the director, we're more important than actors. So we're gonna use the control rotation instead, because that could be facing, you know, wherever the fuck. And let's see what happens. So if I look over here and hit forward, amazing. So now, I mean, it's kind of hard to see, but
we're kind of on another screen.
what?
We're only seeing the. Oh, never mind. It's just slow to update.
Oh, okay. Teams. You're worrying me, Teams. Oh God. Can make the physics like glitch out here. Yeah, fuck it, just goes away. Oh, Unreal Physics. Never change. Yeah, so now at so now at least we can move in any direction. Of course, the actor still doesn't rotate. The actor is still just facing where we put it in the beginning. The actor is just facing where we put it in the beginning, and it will never change. So here we could do like a lerp or something, like we could manually rotate up the player to face sort of the direction we're moving right now. If we were kind of interested in doing stuff ourselves. Or the character movement component in Unreal has a very nice bool that is called here, orient rotation to movement. Orient rotation to movement. On the character movement component. So if I just fucking slap that bool, give it a good slapping, then now our character, as soon as we start moving, the character will rotate up to face the direction we're moving in. Isn't that hella neat? Isn't Unreal amazing, guys? Isn't Unreal amazing, guys? I'll try again.
No.
Yeah, I was actually talking a bit with my girlfriend yesterday. That I'm teaching Unreal and the students hate it. And she said like, yeah, it's whoa, what the hell just happened? It's a lot more to learn than in Unity. Like, there's so many more concepts that you have to kind of shug through. Like, all of this stuff, like, okay, what's a game mode? What's a play controller? What's a pawn? And you kind of get stuff out of the box for some reason, like, which I guess also is kind of unnerving compared to Unity, where you don't really get much out of the box. you kind of just like make it yourself, and that kind of makes sense. When the fact is that like Unreal is like Unity in the way you can do whatever the fuck you want. Like it's kind of a bare bones engine. Whoa. It's just it's just that you kind of have to slog through all of this default stuff, like the Unreal ecosystem. You have to kind of slog through that, and then after a while, I'm just gonna say like, okay, here it is. None of this matters. Like we're not gonna use any of this. But yeah, you kind of had to know about it to know what's going on. How much of the out-of-the-box stuff is used in larger projects? I honestly cannot tell you. I can tell you that it takes two. We didn't use any of this. We don't use any of this. Like, we don't use the pawns. We don't use play controllers. We don't use character movement component. We don't use anything. We just wrote everything ourselves. Which, it's possible. It's more than possible. Like, Unreal is happy for you to just write your own stuff. And just do whatever the heck you want. I mean, I honestly can't tell you if any other Unreal projects uses the character movement. Probably some of it. Probably at least a few games uses the default stuff. But because they don't want to write their own, which is fine. Like it works fine. So if you're making like a walking simulator or something, or a game where the movement isn't really that important to the game, Jesus, then. Then I mean I don't really see a reason not to use it. Obviously you should tweak it so it feels a bit different than Unreal's default, but yeah. How much of blueprints will we need to deal with daily? At least every day you will have to deal with blueprints. At least every day. Tobas is going like, fuck. We're gonna see a big reason why once we hop into C++. Okay, so let's just finish the one last thing, is that the character doesn't have any animation, which is kind of boring. She's just T-posing around. So let's give her an animation. We're not gonna go into animation blueprints or how those work or are set up. Already in this project, there is like a third-person movement ABP that already does everything, so we're just gonna slap that onto our scale mesh. So if I scroll up, so I select my scale mesh, and over here in animation, we have the animation mode, use animation blueprint, and that should stay there. Could also choose like use play a looping animation or something. And then anim class, we're just gonna select which ABP this is supposed to use. ABP stands for animation blueprint. I'm just gonna select this third person anim BP. There we go. So now she's animating. Yeah, so now she's running around like normal. Very cool. Very cool. Alright. So we're done with PP for now. Yes, it uses the animation. Yeah, there's a whole state machine business going on. I can show it to you real quick if you want. Crappa. Crappa. Where the hell is it? Mannequin. Animations. There it is. Yeah, so yeah, so this is what the animation blueprint looks like in Unreal. Very similar to it's very similar to Unity. You said mostly everything here is also kind of blueprint-ish.
So by similar to Unity in that other one, this one, do you mean like the transition is dependent on the values, like speed, for example?
Yeah, so here it would be like is in air, and then well, I think idle run uses the blend space. Yeah, so here's a speed variable that goes into a blend space. So I mean, I'm not quite sure how I'm sure Unity uses blend spaces as well, but this could
Yeah,
this
they
speed
use
could
it like almost identically. It looks like.
yeah. I mean,
Just-
animation states are very like hard-grained concept these days. So most engines that have this looks more or less the same. I tried to put some reference yesterday in Blueprints. Unreal crashed and it could not keep the auto-saved files. And that sounds like a you problem.
What a teacher! What a teacher!
10 out of 10.
Yeah, you get what you paid for.
Can someone send me Emil's home address?
No,
You just look on Hita SE.
no, you already
It's Sweden.
Yeah,
you already
it's right there
doxed
on
me
Ethan.
once.
Wait, I can give you the link.
Yeah.
Nice. I have to sharpen my chainsaw.
The most efficient murder weapon, a chainsaw. All right. So let's take a deep dive today into the C++ land. I know you guys love C++. Favorites, big favorites on all of you. So I assume it will be smooth. Man, you guys be so negative today. Am I a bad influence?
Yes.
I need to fucking check myself on that. Okay, so we're
Unreal is a
making
bad influence.
so we're gonna make our own C++ class, all right? So the way we're gonna do that is that I'm gonna hop over to the content browser, scroll down in the left little tab here. I'm gonna open up this C++ classes folder.
Yeah, what
it
happens
looks
if you
much
don't have
better
that
in.
one?
It looks much better. The Unreal 5 looks more like Unity, which is nice. Yeah, I'm not a big fan. This is actually originally what turned me off Unreal. That it looks like a level editor from a game or something. And then when you hit play, it's played like a sound as well. I think they removed it now. But every time you played, it was like, and then you played, and it was like, when you get out of it, it was super lame. All right, so we're gonna hop into C++ classes. Right click just
Wait,
anywhere.
Emil, what do you do if you don't have that C++ classes folder? Do I just create a folder? Or
Then
just...
you cry. What do you mean? Did you?
Press the folder thing
Fucking hell, you're useful,
at the
Emil.
top.
the folder thing at the top.
Yeah, you might need to click view options here. There's a
It
little
might also
eyeball in the bottom right.
because not everyone used what is it called C++ option in when creating the.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe you made a BP project, but just to check, go down right, view options here.
I have that checked.
You have that
Show
checked.
No, check the engine content. It worked.
Engine.
Like the same where the C++ is.
Yeah, but this is something else.
Third one.
This is something else.
That one.
No, that one opens the C++.
We have engine C++.
No, it opened.
Or-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Engine
but
C++.
Isn't that the
use
same?
these. Don't use these. Yeah, make sure you've created a C++ project and not a blueprint project.
But we
But
did a
can we-
blueprint project because we were doing blueprints.
Yeah. You fucked up.
Can we update?
No, you fucked.
But I did the C++, but I don't have that folder either.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did too.
Man,
and I
you
don't-
guys just poo-pooing on me right now. It's
Yeah,
like-
that's what you
You're
get.
making me look like an idiot.
Can we upgrade the project somehow?
I don't know if you could convert a project to a C++ project.
What kind
Let's
of
try
stupid,
it. Let's get
what
out
kind
of
of
here.
stupid engine is this?
What
I
kind
didn't
of...
have it either until I pressed the show or hide the sources panel. Like you change how you see your files.
What?
I don't know how to explain it, but like
To the left of
above.
the search
Just had an
bar.
image.
Yeah, exactly.
To the left of the what?
I posted an image.
It doesn't help me.
Well, let's try this then. What Tobias Rudin said. Go to
So
File
I
and then New C++ class. Do you have this?
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
that.
Okay, then press that instead. All right. So
just none.
now we're gonna make an actor.
Okay.
So select actor here, and here we specify where it will end up and stuff. I'm just gonna leave it default, and then I'll name it something funny.
Was there a car passing by?
Yes, actually, I'm on the highway. It's just a
I
green.
see.
This is just a green screen. I'm actually homeless. I'm gonna name it fuck something funny. Give me a funny word.
Emil.
Okay, that's fine. Emil actor. That's hilarious. Okay, so at least type Emil actor here, and then just
Be
create.
Emil Clown.
No, it's an actor. It's not a clown. I'm an actor. It's a weak joke, Ruda. Weak.
Better than yours.
Dude, I'm funny. Okay?
Sure, keep that at
I
yourself.
have a whole class of people here thinking I'm funny. Right, guys?
Okay.
That's the thing with being a hashtag relatable teacher. You have to fucking
Have to?
I don't want to finish this sentence. Okay, so
I get something that I could add the class, but however I must compile the module before it will appear in the content browser.
What?
It's a successfully added class. However, you must recompile the module before it will appear in the content browser. Failed to generate project files. Would you like to open output log to see more details?
Yeah, show me.
I got the same issue.
Unreal is
Didn't
so
get
good,
this
guys.
issue.
Unreal is so good, guys. Okay, go hit yes. You don't have .NET.
But okay. I got it before, but yeah, okay, maybe not. Then
Maybe.
fuck. Can you take over control and
Yeah, I'll hide you. Okay.
yes, thank you.
Maybe restart. Have you restarted your computer ever since you installed that .NET?
No,
Okay.
I never restart my computer.
Yeah, it's same. Try restarting your computer and seeing that helps.
Okay, bye for now.
Bye. All right, we gotta come up with something really funny that happens when she comes back. It's like, oh, we made the MMO. Okay, whatever. That wasn't funny. Anyway,
Ha 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 ha.
stop, Russ, stop.
Started it.
Okay, so here's our ML actor.
The panic when you have 1,000 lines of code without her knowing what the fuck happened.
So,
Wait, we chose actor, right, for the parent class?
yes. But do you have 1,000 lines of code?
Unreal is taking 1,000 hours to compile the class.
Really? Does my compile even work? Oh, it does.
I have a question, Emil.
Yeah, shoot.
It might be a very naive question, but I never used Unreal. So the idea of using C++ code is that you make the C++ code, and then you want to use it through blueprints. Like whatever you do, you want to use it through the blueprints, right? Like gameplay specific C++ code.
Sometimes, but not always. Sometimes you want to make just a whole actor just purely in C++.
Oh, okay. Okay. Fair.
Or if it's some like manager or some court system, you might make some C++ code that isn't even like an act or anything. It's just C++ code that does stuff. Like it's like you can do anything. Yeah.
Wait, Emil, I'm trying to understand my issue I have here, but I can't.
Okay, show me.
I think because I tried to make a C++ thingy yesterday, and I didn't manage to get it working. And now I think I have duplicates, and I can't find them. So I get the same issue with like Emilia, like you have a something module, but my error is different, it seems.
Oh. Well, let's check out your project then.
So
Have you saved this to OneDrive?
No, or yeah, I
Because
guess.
that's the link in profiler resulting error user Thomas OneDrive.
Yeah, but everything is on OneDrive on this shit. You can't put nothing not on OneDrive. No.
On this shit.
And that's
I don't
probably
know.
the reason why it doesn't work.
Who knows?
OneDrive, I can't put anything on OneDrive. Nothing would work for me.
Well, anyway, here's the project folder.
So if you open up SLN.
This one.
Yep. Okay, go into source, like in the right there. Yes, we made an actor. Open up the source. Yep. Then BP.
Also, they're there.
Okay, what's in new folder there?
Nothing. Oh wait, there is. Oh.
Okay.
Interesting.
So you have like 3 things.
Can I delete everything here?
Yeah.
That sounds very skeptical.
Yeah, deleting files is unfortunately kind of annoying in Unreal.
My Visual Studio crashed.
Okay, nice. Perfect.
Unreal is great.
Yeah, it really is fantastic, guys. Okay, you know what? You do this. Close down Unreal.
Close down Unreal.
And then go into your folder in in Explorer. Yeah, and then source. And then Unreal BP. And then remove. I'm not quite sure what the class is, but remove like test CPP class. Yeah, remove essentially everything except for the FG21 Unreal BP, HCPP, and build.cs. Yeah,
so like that.
Yeah, just remove that. Okay, then go back out to Unreal BP.
Oh.
And then right-click the U project. And hit Generate Visual Studio Project Files. Okay, and now open up the U project. Okay, cool. There you go.
Okay, now let's see if I can make something then.
Yeah, try again.
So.
Yeah, I'm
C++
guessing that's the thing you
class.
have to do. Like I was assuming that when you install Unreal, it will install all the prerequisites. But what David Bong said to modify Visual Studio to have the game development with C++, which I'm not even sure if I have that. Seems to fix a lot of things. What the fuck? Changes generate code are. Could you right click that output log window? Yeah, like inside the window. I need to do what?
Inside the window, right?
Yeah. Fuck it. You can't do wrapping? Whatever. Okay, scroll to the right. Changes to generated code are not allowed. What? Conflicts written to intermediate. Go scroll left. Does your OneDrive like autosave and stuff?
Yes.
I'm wondering if maybe OneDrive is fucking with you here.
It probably is.
Because I've
It
never
wouldn't
seen that
surprise me.
before in my life.
Wait, are you using OneDrive to store your project?
Well, yes and no. It's like I don't know. OneDrive is like everywhere on the PC.
If you have something in Documents is automatically saving the Documents folder to OneDrive.
Yeah, that I know.
So just deactivate it.
Deactivate OneDrive.
Deactivating the connection to document. You right-click the OneDrive cloud in the bottom right. I think manage storage or settings.
I mean, maybe just make a folder in C. That's just like.
Yeah,
actually,
I'll just try to do that. You can continue. I'll try to fix my shit meanwhile.
The autosave feature fucks with engines very, very massively.
Yeah,
very
I'm
bad.
assuming that's the problem there.
Sorry to hold everyone up, but Emil, I can't even open my Unreal project now.
Okay, let's see it. Man, if I had known there was some on prerequisite stuff, I would have told you. I used to have no clue. Okay, what happens?
Hit yes.
Yeah, you're there. If you hit yes. Okay, do this. So go into the folder where your Unreal thing is there. Like your project folder.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then head into first. Okay, and then right click first.u project. And hit. Oh, you have to click it first and then right click. Yeah, generate Visual Studio project files. Ah, perfect.
Is that also in OneDrive?
No.
In Documents?
No.
No, could not find a net effect. Okay, scroll to the right. Okay. Let's try doing the thing that people said. So go from hit Windows button in a Visual Studio. No, like you type Visual Studio.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah, go to Visual Studio installer. And then modify on the 2022. Scroll down. Okay, hit game development with C++.
Yeah.
And
something else.
yeah, scroll up. Hit the .NET desktop development. Okay. And then modify.
Eight people watch.
Yeah, we're gonna watch.
How can you live with this?
How do you live like this?
How do you cope?
I don't. That's my secret.
Okay, should I do something else like after? I feel like I'm holding everybody up, so if you tell me what to do, you can continue.
Well, it seems like a lot of people are having problems, so that's why maybe everyone who has problems can do this. Then we can kind of chill for everyone to get up to speed. Yeah, I'm sorry, guy. I really thought they would install all the prerequisites when you downloaded Unreal, but I guess that's not true. Now that I think about it, I remember that we had to go through these steps that Amelia are doing at work as well. Like when we install Visual Studio, we had to check these things.
So it's not Unreal, it's like we were missing stuff from Visual Studios.
Yeah, pretty much. To work with Unreal, like source stuff. I still don't remember having to do this for the other class, but I don't know. Maybe they already had that stuff.
I mean, most of that stuff, don't you have it from SDL? Like when you have to.
Well, no, not really. Maybe they just had it for some other reason. This might take a while, Amelia.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not awkward already. It's
No,
okay.
no, it's not awkward at all. That's the
No.
yeah. Yay! Hooray! Okay, try now to generate the project files.
From here?
Yeah. I'll click first, then right click.
Oh god.
Ah! Okay.
Okay,
Cool.
it's fine.
Yeah, it works.
Should I be able to open it like normal now?
Yeah, you should. What could fucking possibly go wrong?
Mm.
Yes. Heart pounding. Oh. Yeah, I'm telling you, when you are when you guys are working on your projects, that window being like, oh, these modules are missing, you need to build them, that will be the fucking bane of your existence. Hey, it built. Perfect.
Okay, so that will appear. That's like it's not a one-time thing.
No, it's horrible. All right, cool,
Okay,
perfect.
it's fine.
Yeah, so that was the thing
Yes.
that needed to happen. So yeah, for anyone who missed that, I'll tell you now. I'll tell you now. The way to make it work is to go into Visual Studio Installer. So yeah, head into Visual Studio Installer. Modify. I'll post this in the channel as well after this lesson. I used to hit. Oh yeah, I do have this hit actually. So you have to hit .NET Desktop Development. And oh, I don't have this one. Okay, I guess you don't need this one. So yeah, just .NET Desktop Development is what you need. Not quite sure why I don't have this, but I don't know what it does. What it does do. Something weird. All right, cool. We're back on track. So, right, here we are in an actor. So yeah, there's a few things here that should be a little bit alarming. So we have this include mlactor.generated.h. Sounds very ominous. Very ominous. We have stuff like here it says uClass as like a weird macro. Here's also another weird macro, generated body. What the hell does that do? And then we have this FG Unreal API here. It's also kind of scary. So the thing with...
I don't have any of the things you're looking at.
Are you in the CPP file?
No.
Did you make an actor?
Yes. It looks like...
Yeah, what does it look like? Man, can I go one step without something going wrong, guys?
No. Unreal be best.
Oh, I guess you didn't hit actor. I guess you hit empty or something when you made the thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess you hit this one. None. But you want an actor. Right. So let's take a break first before we go through what the fuck's going on here. So you guys can also figure out what's going wrong. I need to go have a little bit of an existential crisis for a second. So let's get back in 10 minutes. So at 11:10 we'll continue. All right. See you soon.
Wait, Emil, you're here, right? I can see you.
Yeah.
Is it possible that I can just make like a C++ project and still like follow along, just making a new entire project?
Yeah.
That's possible, right?
Yes.
Okay, then I'll try to do that because my entire project now disappeared. I don't know why, but it's OneDrive that's just completely breaking. I unlinked the OneDrive so that it's not on the like OneDrive, and now the entire project is on the OneDrive and not on my PC.
Oh, great, fantastic.
Oh crap.
So I just need to sort of do that shit, but it keeps syncing, so I'll just make a new project and try to follow along using that.
You just make a new project. Hey. Yes, we're gonna make new stuff now. So, there's not really a dependency on what we've done before.
Are we recording this to YouTube as well, like last time?
Yes, it's recording.
All right.
But yeah, it's my bad. I should have remembered that you had to set up Visual Studio in this way to get it to work. I just completely forgot about that, so that's my bad. Maybe. But hopefully we can start rolling. Okay, let's continue. Well, in the video there won't be any webcams, so that will just be our little secret. Alright. So, what is this generated.h? What is this U class? What is this generated body? What is this? What is this? And the thing, since Unreal is using C++ and Unity is using C#, so there's a big difference in that C++ doesn't really have any type of reflection in it. And reflection in this case would mean like there's no way of getting all classes and finding out like what the inheritance tree there is. There's no way of figuring out like which functions are on a class and what the pointers are or anything like that. There's no way to get any sort of metadata about any classes. Which is a big problem when you're trying to make an engine, because you want to like make functions and hook those up into blueprints and like make them callable, and you may want to be able to make like blueprint overrides of actors and stuff. So in an engine, it's very important that the editor kind of knows about what's happening in C++ land. So in C#, in Unity, C# does have very good reflection code, which means that Unity can kind of just like read through the C# that you've written, and it can fetch all of the properties you've made and all the function that you've written, and it can may or may not hook that up to the editor based on if it's public or it has some meta tag specified and stuff like that. Unfortunately, in C++ that's not possible. So one way to sort of fix this in some engines, you would like in the constructor, right? So if I have here my ML actor, you would do something like, a register editor class, like a ML actor And you will like, oh, register editor method, and you'll be like, oh, it's part of the ML actor, and it's called like, you know, begin play or whatever. And it's now register editor property, and it's part of ML actor. And it's just the whole thing, right? It's super annoying, like my property. And it's super annoying, but some you know, some engines work like this. Because that's just kind of what you have to do in C++. There's just no really way of getting around that. You're gonna have to run some sort of code to hook methods and properties up to the editor so that you can play with them. I know at least the star stable engine works like this, although it's way more annoying. The way that Unreal does it is that it generates this code for you. So it has a way of generating code based on what you've written. So whenever you compile the game and compile your actor, it's not just your code being compiled, there's also this auto-generated code being compiled that sort of does that hooking up for you. And these things, like uClass and generated body to some extent, these don't actually do anything. This uClass here, like if I go to the definition, here, it's not actually defined to be anything. Like here is something, but this again doesn't really do anything. Like it's just like here's a U property U function I will be working with soon. Like they are defined as nothing. So this isn't any code that actually changed anything. All this is just a marker for the preprocessor, the Unreal preprocessor, that will go through your code and look at, okay, you have U class specified here. Okay, so I should generate code to register an editor class that's called a ML actor. And then later on, we're gonna make like U functions. Like, here's my Unreal, my editor function. Blah, blah, blah. Got. So it will see this U function specifier and be like, oh, okay, here's a function that should be exposed to editor. So it will regenerate some sort of like register editor method like this. It will generate that for you. So there's a lot of code being generated on the fly to sort of hook stuff up into the editor. And that is what this mlactor.generated.h is for. That sort of contains a part of that generated code. So that's why we have to include this. It's always just the name of the header. So here, in this case, it's mlactor.h. It's just the name of the header that we're in, and then .generated.h. So that's just how that works. So you can kind of see these as, I don't remember what the name is, but like the meta tags in C#. You know how you would have like serialized fields. Right, something like that in C#. You can kind of see them like that. Instead it looked like this. It looks like U function and U class and so on. But we're gonna be putting stuff inside of here to define some metadata for how this function is gonna interact with the engine. We'll see that in a while. So whenever you see this U class, U property, U function that we're gonna work with in a second, all you can see is that, okay, this will just make it work. It's just a magic word that will make things work. The actual U class and the U function doesn't actually do anything on its own. It's all about, it will generate code somewhere else that makes it work. Okay. So here's our actor. This API specification here is not strictly needed. Like we could omit this and it would still work just fine. Some people like having it, some people don't. It's kind of complicated what it does. So I'm actually gonna omit this for now. Just like omit it until it becomes a problem, you know. It's about DLL. It's about DLL export. That's kind of what it does, if you want a short answer. Yeah. And generated body, by the way, that just puts a lot of stuff in your header that needs to be there for the Unreal reflection to work. So it will generate stuff like a get class, so we can do like a ML actor get class, which is like going into the Unreal reflection system. So here we could like get all functions and so on. So that's their way of doing the reflection that looks very similar to C#. But to have this get class function, it needs to insert it into our class. So that's what this generated body is for. Just adds a bunch of code in our into our class that is needed for the reflection to work. So we need that in there. And this is why I don't like starting out with Unreal in C++. I remember when back when we started this course or this program, they wanted to just be like, oh, we'll do C++ and then we'll just use Unreal, right? But I actually told them like, no, let's not do Unreal first, because it is so weird, like with this U class and generated body going on. Like it's so hard to learn just basic C++ stuff, like what is a pointer, like, you know, all of that stuff, when there's so much other stuff going on in the engine that it's kind of hard to explain. So that's why I always like doing stuff like SDL or just base C++ before going into Unreal. Because it's like C++ but with a lot of new features that don't make a lot of sense. Right, so that out of the way. Now we understand this U class and generated body fully. We're experts on this. Then we just got a constructor here. We have begin play, and we have tick. Okay, so just the default thingies that are nice to have. So I'm just gonna hop into the C++ code, the CPP file. Now I'm gonna warn you already with the constructor. The constructor does not work like you might imagine, like when you spawn an actor or something like that. The constructor does more default stuff. So it's like if you want to set some default values for your actor, that's kind of what the constructor is for. So the constructor is not for do stuff when this actor is spawned. That is what begin play is for. So be a bit careful with what you put in a constructor. It kind of has a very specified job, what the constructor actually does. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. Let's not talk about it now. Just begin play. We've already talked about begin play in blueprints, and it works the exact same way. Whenever this actor is spawned, begin play will run. Same thing with tick. You know, every frame tick will be called on these actors. So that's it.
How can I split the window so I can see both files at the same time?
Just drag the CPP file here, and then click the little horizontal split here.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. So we have our actor. So let's compile. So I'm just gonna hit the compile button here, which will compile the code and update everything. Boom. So now we should be able to find our ML actor here. Yes, there it is. So in place actors, I searched for ML actor, and here it is. So I can place it out. Unfortunately, we don't have any components on our actor. Like if you see here in the component list, it's just completely empty. So unlike in Blueprint, when I made a new actor in Blueprint, I got like a default scene component as the default root component. We don't have that. And yes, Alphonse, since the position and scale and rotation of an actor is just the transform of the root component, so the root component is actually like the position of the actor. Since we don't have a root component, that means our actor does not have a position or anything. It just doesn't exist in the world. However, if we play, we should still see. I didn't do anything, right? I didn't do anything in C++. So let's do something. Let's print. Unfortunately, there's no easy print function, which I hate. Like, that's usually the first thing I make whenever I make a new project, use some sort of print function. There is one, but it's kind of weird. Instead, I'm just gonna do UE log. So UE log is like the logging functionality in Unreal Engine that will print to the output log here, the output log window here. It's gonna be UE log. We have to give a category. You can see here to the left. Here's all the categories for logging. So you can get like, here's log slate for the slate system and audio mixer for the audio mixer system and so on. And that's so you can filter, because like a lot of things are logging all the time. So that's you can filter out, like, oh, I don't want to know about slate, or like I only want to know about log world or whatever. We're just gonna put log temp. So that's gonna, it's just temporary log category. So we don't want to make our own, we don't really care. Now I have verbosity. And that can be from log, warning, error, fatal, I think are the verbosities. And that's like, okay, should it be just white text or yellow text, red text, and then fatal will actually crash the game. So that's just how, how extreme. Like here's a warning, for example, warning, starting hot roll took 0 seconds. So I don't know why he warned us about that, but thanks. It's like, warning, it took no time. It's like, okay, this is good. Okay, so we just get that log. So we're gonna have the log verbosity here. And then it's the format. And this is like printf, and this is kind of why I wanted you guys to know about printf. And another thing that we have to do is that all of Unreal Engine uses Unicode and not ASCII. So whenever you type out a string, you don't type it out like this, like hello world. You have to make this a Unicode string, and you do that by doing text in parentheses, like that. So that will make it Unicode.
Would the ASCII one not compile, or would it?
It won't compile.
Give...
It will say like, oh, you're trying to convert a char pointer to a wide char pointer.
Okay, cool.
So that's good at least. Alright, so now we're logging in begin play. So let's see what happens. So if I play... Oh, fuck, I have to compile first. So compile.
How do you compile? Does it get like a button at the bottom right?
Here at the top right.
Ah, there,
compile.
okay.
So we compile, takes a little second, and then play, and now we see log temp hello world down in the log. So the actor does exist. You missed the end. You have to put an end parenthesis on the UV log. Wait, so we could log in runic? I'm not quite sure exactly what characters. I think OAÖ is hello. Hello. Hello world. I think Nordic letters are supported. Nope, they aren't. Just fucked up. It's hell RL. Hell is real life. Okay, so it doesn't support. That's
relatable.
Very. I'm not sure why the D got cut off. Oh well, whatever.
I'm having an error. Even though it looks just like yours. It says for the UE log, improperly terminated macro invocation.
Yeah, did
Does
you
mean...
put you missed a parenthesis in the picture.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Okay, so the actor does exist, it just doesn't have a position, right? So you can make empty actors like this if you want to make stuff like managers or whatever. If you want to have the stuff that exists in the level, it just doesn't have any position or anything. So that's neat. But let's add a scene component to it, so it actually does have some sort of position or something. So let's do that. So the way you add a component, whoops. The way you add a component is that in the constructor, you write create default subobject. So this is the function you use to create components. So you have to specify a type in this type name tReturnType. So it's a templated function. And here you specify which component you want to add. So in this case, we want to add a useScene component. Then we have to specify a name. So that will be what it's called. That's just it. That's just what it's gonna be called. I'll call it. Whoop. I'll just call it root. I am root. Isn't that the name of the guy in Thanos game? Isn't that the tree? Oh, Groot. Okay. So if I replace him, yeah. So I had to replace him just to update it. But here we can see that our actor now actually has, we can move it around, and it has a root component here called root. So isn't that nice?
Can you show how you wrote that again?
Yeah, it's an end game. Isn't that what it's called?
Even do you have to add the component from the script, or can you do it from the editor by just pressing the add component?
You can also do it from the editor, yes.
Okay.
So that way you would add a component to an instance, but this is how we add it to the actor itself. So if you do it from the editor, then it will only be on that one instance. If you drag out another actor, it won't have that component on it.
Oh, so you cannot like now when we have the actor, we cannot like make a blueprint out of it.
Yes, we can. That's a good foreshadowing. We'll look at that in just a second.
Okay.
Yes, that's a good idea you had there. Now, let's add a let's add something else to this actor. Let's add a sphere collision, just because that's kind of the easiest thing to add that looks like anything. So I'm gonna add a sphere collision as well. So I'm just gonna do create default subobject, use sphere component, text sphere collision. Yeah, so it's just called use sphere component. It's just not called use sphere collision component. It's just called use sphere component. Fortunately, we have to include this. So I'm just gonna figure out where that is. Okay. So include that by include components sphere components. So that's how we include the sphere components.
How do I turn off the compiler sound thingy in Unreal? If you
I have no idea. If you find it, please tell me. Probably
awesome.
like settings.
Don't turn it off.
Probably like editor preferences. Here, I'm gonna look now actually. Compile sound. Enable editor sounds. Boom. Okay, there we go.
I believe this is actually very important to go through because I don't want to receive brain damage from the sound every
yeah,
time.
it's like the brown note. It's like every time you hear it, you shit yourself. Yeah, so go into editor preferences, search for sounds, and then there's enable editor sounds spool here that is turn off. Oh, silence. I should have looked earlier. Okay.
Where were it? Where was this anti-sound thing?
Set in editor preferences, and then you search for editor sound. I'm guessing these cursed paths are due to starting with a blueprint project. Yeah, that's super cursed. I'm not quite sure why that happened to you, but yeah, just replace those with what I have. I assume. I can show you real quick. Okay. So if I go into my actor now then, ML actor. Well, it does show up, but what if I like remake the actor here? Let's see. Nope. It still doesn't show up. And if we actually look down here, we get a warning. So it's like, warning, ML actor, blah, 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 has natively added scene components, but none of them were set as the actor's root component, picking one arbitrarily. And this is actually a good error that I was hoping would show up. The thing is that we don't have actually set any of these components to be the root component of the actor. So we'll just kind of pick one randomly, essentially. So what we'll do is that I'll save this. I'll save the output that from that function. That's create default subobject when we create the root scene component. So that I can later set root component equals root. So now we're actually setting exactly which component that we make that is the actor's root component. Right. So if I compile this. Cool. Drag it out. Alright, so we don't get the error now, or the warning rather. However, our sphere collider does not show up. Still, we only have the root when I added a sphere component here, like a sphere collision, but it's not showing up. And that is because when we create a component in C++, we need to set up how are they attached to each other. Like, is the sphere collision, is that attached to the root or to something else? Like, what does the hierarchy look like? And we do that by calling, so I'm gonna save this, use sphere component. Sphere. I'm gonna call setup attachment. So after I created it, I will call setup attachment, and then I push in which component this component, which component this component, which component this component, which component this component should be attached to. I'm just gonna pass in root. So you just want to set the sphere to be attached to root. So root will be the parent of sphere. Oops. So now it still doesn't show up here, but if I haven't compiled, because I'm dumb. Okay. So it still doesn't show up here, which is sad, but if I replace the actor, it should show up. Yes, there we have it. Well, it's not visible. So I can tell it's there because we clearly have a sphere around it. Like there clearly is a sphere here. It still doesn't show up here in the component list.
Could you go back to the code?
Yes.
Where does sphere come from on line 17? I just don't get it to show up. Oh.
The line before. All right. So it doesn't show up. The reason it doesn't show up is that we actually have to save these to U properties for them to be visible in the editor. So they are still there, but these are considered like C++ only components that like we can change them and move them around in C++, but they're not visible to the editor at all. So what we're gonna do is that I'm gonna save them as variables on a class. So here I made two variables, root and sphere. I made them public. I don't know if we actually do need to make them public, but I don't know, whatever, I made them public. And then instead of making these local variables in this function, instead I'm just gonna set those member variables. So now if I compile, oh, got some syntax errors here. Yeah, okay, so it seems like sphere does not, yeah, so this sphere component, it's not, it was included in the C++ file, but it's of course not included in the header. So I'm just gonna forward declare this use sphere component. Yeah.
I'm using Rider, so it added include components / sphere component.
Okay. That's fine. You can include this in the header as well.
Oh, yeah, it's added for you in the CPP, but it added to the header for me.
Oh, okay. I generally have my general tip is to, if you can, include just in the C++ file and forward declare in the header. But I mean, there's nothing in this case specifically. There's nothing wrong with including this in the header. I don't think it's gonna slow down too much.
Could you maybe explain exactly like how forward declaring works? Like how is the code in the CPP file so smart that it automatically chooses the useSphere component from the header file instead of the empty class you made in the header? It's just, I don't know, fascinating to me how it works.
Well, yeah. So this, so forward declaring a class here just tells C++ that there is class somewhere, kind of like when you're declaring a function. There's a class somewhere in this whole project called useSphere component. It's just that right now you don't know what's in it. Like you just don't know, you just know it exists. And that means you cannot make so if I had some member function, you can't make an instance of it. Like you can't do stuff like this.
Right.
Because to make an instance of useSphere component, you would have to know how big it is. But you don't know how big it is right now. You just know it exists. So really the only thing you can do is make pointers and references to it. Because pointers don't care how big something is. All it knows is like it lives here. I don't know how big it is, but it is here in this address. But then as soon as you want to use it, so to like do stuff with it, like we do in the CPP file, like here we call this setup attachment method and stuff. To do this, then we actually do need to know like, okay, how big is it? How many functions and variables are in it? So that's why we have to include it in the CPP file.
All right.
But for the header, it works just fine to know that it exists, because then we can make a pointer to it.
Okay.
What about the red squigglies?
It's just Visual Studio, not no understanding what's going on. So don't trust red squigglies. I don't know, maybe Rider's better with that stuff, I don't know. Okay, now that we have forward declared. Alright, the compile completed. So now we still don't see anything. And that's of course because we made some member variables, but like I said before, Unreal does not have any way of knowing about our member variables. If we just make a member variable or a member functions, it has no way to hook that up to the editor, because the editor needs this sort of reflection code to be able to see what is in your class, you know, what is going on, what functions do you have. So this is not exposed to the editor at all. It's just kind of C++ only variables. To expose those to the editor, so we can see them in here. Whoops. So we can see them in here. I'm gonna have to make a U property, like this. So just put U property in front of this variable here. And being a U property means that it will be added to reflection, so that Unreal, the editor, can actually see that, okay, we have actually a variable named sphere, which is of type uSphereComponentPointer. And this works for anything. We can see that there are, if you make an int, a U property, then it's like, okay, there's a property named this, that's an int, and so on. It just gets sort of added to the editor ecosystem, as well as getting stuff like garbage collection and all of that good nonsense that Unreal does for us. So marking something as a U property kind of, you know, adds it to the Unreal ecosystem. Like, okay, now we're part of it. But you don't have to make it U property. You could just make a C++ variable. There's nothing wrong with that, you know, on the surface.
Do you have to make it for each one of these, or can you make it like bunch these two together to make both of them U properties?
No, you have to make one for each. So now we made these U properties, so we've exposed those to the editor. So let's see what happens now if I recompile. Okay, so they still don't show up, but what if I replace it again? Okay, so it seems like they haven't shown up yet. So there's actually more to it than that. So now, yes, now they are exposed to the Unreal editor, as in it can find them. Unfortunately, there's many other specifiers that we can add to this. So in Unity, you know, everything is exposed kind of by default through the C# reflection. But a good example would be like to make something show up in the property window when it's not public. So when something is private, you have to put in like serialized field, you know, or hide in property window. I don't remember what it was called. So you can get this kind of specifiers to each property and field, just to tell Unity how it should treat this variable, like what should it do with it. And the same thing happens in Unreal, where in this U property we can specify meta tags to tell the engine like what can you do with this variable, like what kind of shit can you do with it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add visible anywhere. I think that's the right one. I hope it is. I haven't made a component in C++ in so long. I'm gonna be honest with you. So visible anywhere will make this, well, it will be visible anywhere. I'm just gonna see if it works first, and then we'll see. So I'm gonna compile. Ah, there it is. So now we can see all of our components on our actor. So the way that it works is that by default, I can't compile the header file. What's going on? What's going wrong, Alvin? Declaration of root hides class member. Make sure you're not doing this. Whoops.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. We want to make sure to set the member variables here. Yeah, so the way it works is kind of like Unity in a way. If you set to private, like public and private, don't really think about it like that, because Unreal doesn't really care about the C++ public private. All it sees is that by default, all of your U properties will be, private in the way that nothing in the editor can access them. Nothing in the editor can, change the values or anything. They're just kind of exposed to the editor for stuff like reflection and garbage collection. But then to actually expose them to the editor so they're visible, so they can be changed by the editor, you have to put this visible anywhere to make it like, okay, this is a U property and it can also be edited by the editor in the instance window or in blueprints or anything like that. So that's why we have to put the visible anywhere there, because U property by default are set to be as, inaccessible as possible. The only thing that really has access to them is the reflection and the garbage collection. So that's why we put that visible anywhere there.
Yeah, how do I recompile the project?
There. In the editor, you press this little compile button.
Oh, of course.
And it'll make a fun sound. So yeah, add components. Do it in the construction script. In the constructor, we add components. We assign those to U properties, and we mark those U properties as visible anywhere. So that is how you make components in C++ on an actor. Now, as someone alluded to, we can of course override this actor in blueprints. So if we want to add stuff like, the artists want to add some cool scale meshes, or they want to add some cool particle effects or whatever, what we usually do in that case is that we go into the content browser in the editor, right-click blueprint class. So use some empty space, right-click blueprint class. And then down here in all classes, we should find ML actor. Yes, there it is. So we can override from that. So I'm going to select that and call it BP underscore ML actor. It's the general naming scheme for blueprints. We just call it BP underscore, and then, whatever the actor is called. So now we can see up here in the parent class, it says ML actor. So this actor, this blueprint actor we made here, inherits from ML actor. So here we can see the two components that we added through code, the root and sphere. So we can see inherited means these components were created by your parent, not by you. And now we can go in here and add a cube or something. How nice. There we go, cube. So this is extremely common. almost every actor in It Takes Two had a base class which was made in English script, but it's kind of like C++. It had a base class made in either English script or C++, and then we override those in blueprints to add stuff like meshes and all the visual stuff. And if you change the base, it doesn't complain or break right. Well, I can't promise you that. It does like to complain and break. So no promises there.
So like when we would work with our artists and stuff, we have to prepare them everything and only then like we give them like finished thing?
No, I mean
Or-
it's you just do, and if something breaks, just fix it. Like it's hard to like massively fuck it up, like to the point where it's like, oh, it's unworkable now. That's a bit tricky, but I mean sometimes like if you change the name, of sphere, perhaps. Let's try that. Whoops. If we call this Spherio. Yeah, now we can see the hierarchy kind of messed up because I attached the cube to the sphere, but now that I've renamed the sphere to Spherio, it wasn't attached anymore. So stuff like that can break. And if you change the names of functions and stuff that's been called from blueprints, that will break as well. The worst thing that can happen is that you rename the parent class. So it's like, oh, I want it not to be named Emil Actor. I want it to be named Emil's Actor. So just rename everything. Thank you, Visual Studio. You did a great job. And then compile. Then suddenly you will have some problems. What? Okay, well, it should break. For some reason, it still thinks it's fine, but it's not fine. I can tell you right now, this is not fine. Then you'll have like, oh, the parent class is fucked up. Like, I can't even open it at all. So then you can't open it until you have the old version back. So that's like the worst thing that can happen, really, is that you rename your base classes. Because then all the blueprints will break. So the best thing you can do there is just copy the class and rename it. Then go in here and reparent. So you set a new parent and then delete the old class. But yeah, whatever. So it can break, but oh, excuse me, it is quite rare for it to break enough to actually cause any problems.
Is it possible to remove the sphere collider from the blueprint while it's written in code?
No.
Right.
You can't delete them, and you can't you can't change the parenting either. So here Spherio is attached to root, and there's no way to change that because that's defined in code. Or in the parent. It doesn't matter what the parent is defined in. It could be a blueprint parent. It doesn't matter. The parent decides. You can move them, though. So I can move components around like this. So here I moved Spherio. Alright, it's food time. Have some lunch, and I'll see you guys back 13:00. Any last questions before we go? Great. Alright, see you in an hour. Bye. Bye.
Could you leave the code window open just so we can look at it?
Yes, I'll leave the code window open.
Excellent, thanks.
I'll just also rename it back from Spherio. There we go.